the future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
A huge number out there on Cason Wallace to win Defensive Player of the Year at 500 to 1. That is worth your attention. And a number that I talked about before the season that I still think should be lower is Mark Daigneault to win Coach of the Year at 11 to 1 in the NBA. If they win 70, he's a lock for top 3. If they win 73, it's his.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. Like, it just burns up quick, and you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy.
Yeah.
But possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now on the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Come on in. It's hour number 2. We are just getting started right here on the Early Line on the Sports Grid Network with a holiday week ahead of us here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, some of the best sporting landscapes you will find out, and also some great food, some great family, and hopefully some winning tickets in your back pocket. So over these next hour here, we're going to get some guests in here and talk the NBA. Absolutely. We're also going to talk some NCAA football angles, some Kalshi, some NFL, and much more. And includes, at the end of the hour, with some best bets, which last night went 2-0. It's a great start to the week here. Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday's today, Wednesday's tomorrow. Those are the last 2 shows, should I say, of this work week for us here on the Early Line. So we better make it count, Joe, for the people out there.
And we will, Donnie, because we got a lot to get to here in a 3-day week. Because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, huge this week here, Thanksgiving.
Take a look at the standings here, right, as we look at the early lineup, Joe. And I say the AFC North. Okay, Baltimore Ravens 6-5. Ooh, Pittsburgh Steelers 6-5. Ooh, Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns tied at 3-8. You might say to yourself, why is Joe Burrow even coming out? Or coming back, I should say. The issue here is not that you can't just sit him down if he's healthy. Yes, he's your franchise guy. It's November. Do you think he's going to sit out the next 7 games because this season doesn't matter? They're paid to play football. They will play football. And Thursday night, Joe Burrow is back for the Cincinnati Bengals.
He is, but okay. I mean, they're 1-8 without him, so clearly they believe that having their starting quarterback will make a difference. I'm not so sure, given the fact that the defense is allowing almost 33 points per game. So, but they are 3-8. I guess technically they're still in it in a division, Donnie, that I don't know, still up for grabs here in a lot of aspects. But is he going to throw for more than what? I mean, 27 points a game for Joe Flacco. Is Burrow going to give you more than that? Only you're going to risk getting him hurt again? It's a very strange situation there, but I get, like you said, why he's got to play at this point.
It's almost like what they should have done is brought him back. Like, he practiced in full last week. I know they're taking a little bit slow, but you also had that selling point of we're playing a good Patriots team. Like, if it doesn't work out, our season is over. So, okay, we'll wait and we'll bring you back the next week. They lose to 3. Like, they're not making the playoffs. But again, you're still going to come back and play. And it's not an issue of a concussion to scramble your head if you're coming back too quickly like Jackson Dart, and they held him out an extra week. And by the way, Jameis Winston looks fantastic there. The issue has never been the offense here for Cincinnati, but it's Joe Burrow. He's a couple $100 million quarterback here. He's going to come back and play when he's healthy, and he seems to be healthy enough to do that now. You know, he's not healthy enough probably to play at least this week. It's Baker Mayfield. You saw him go down writhing in pain on that Hail Mary attempt at the end of the second quarter. He didn't even play in the third quarter, came out with a sweatshirt on and also a sling. And the MRI is going to reveal a lot more for that. But it looks like it's not a devastating injury, more of a short term, but he's probably not going to play this weekend, Joe.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate here, but at some point, the injury bug was going to hit him because it hit everyone else on that team. And he has taken a lot of abuse this year, Donnie, with all the injuries on the offensive line there. He's carried them to this point, but somebody's got to, if it's Bridgewater or whoever the backup is going to have to hold the fort down here for a little while.
You know who else is holding the fort down? Shedeur Sanders, at least for another game. The San Francisco 49ers are coming to town. It's not a great defense, but they did show up on Monday Night Football. We'll see what Shedeur has. He's cocky, says he's ready to go. You've been waiting on this kid. And after an 8.7 QBR last Sunday in that win, he's going to have to do a little bit better than that this weekend, Joe, against the Niners.
You think? And yeah, no. It was the 10 sacks that won the Browns that game, not his 8.7 QBR. That is not the case. And listen, Stefanski, all right, great. It does appear that, he would he kind of went back and forth, right, on who was going to be the starting quarterback this week. But it looks like, they're going to go with Sanders again, but this is a totally different situation this week against the 49ers.
Like, if you're an offensive tackle, how do you block Myles Garrett? He's just bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody he goes up against. And yes, it's like the Reggie White effect back in like the late 80s and early 1990s. Like, yeah, we'll put two guys. It doesn't matter. He beats everybody up and gets to the quarterback every week. He might have a legitimate chance this year to set that sack record. And we'll see if it starts once again this week, because Brock Purdy's in that pocket, not the most mobile guy, but he can get around a little bit. Miles probably going to get him at least for one. Should be a fun game to watch that one play out. The New York Giants, they're not having any fun this season. Matter of fact, if you just did the math and said, you know what, if we held on to our double-digit leads in the fourth quarter like we're supposed to, you're actually a playoff team. Think about that. The New York Giants fire the defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen. He's out.
I can't believe that it was the Detroit game that got you to fire him. Like, what is the difference? Play out the string here. My goodness. You should have cleaned house when you had the chance, when you fired Dable and company, but you kept this guy around. And now, how is the GM still having a job? How is Schoen still in position of authority there is beyond me.
Yeah, terrible ownership by the Mara family there. That's why he's in that spot. If you were smart, you would keep Bowen, because that means you're going to lose more football games even if you have the lead. Also, start Russell Wilson out there. Like, Jameis is giving you chances to win. That's almost like not even what you want to happen at this point. You're supposed to be tanking. Like, every win you get now is ridiculous. You should just be tanking the way out, but we'll see what the Giants have in store. Pistons ain't tanking anymore. There was a while they were tanking every single year. Now they got the talent in the room and a 13-game win streak. Detroit basketball is back in a big way.
You got to love it, Donnie. I mean, they're fun to watch, and they're getting it done. They got now they got depth. They got a little healthier here with Jaden Ivey now making it back into the mix. This is a very dangerous team, and I can't wait to see them go toe-to-toe with OKC. And let's see exactly may the best team win. I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be a good one to watch. You know what else should be a good one to watch? Shohei Ohtani says, yeah, man, I'm playing and I'm probably pitching here in the WBC. Tokyo, San Juan, Houston, Miami announces World Baseball Classic host. You tell me this. Shohei Ohtani's on the mound against Team USA in Tokyo, if that's even possible. Woo! Bring it on, man.
I agree, Donnie. I think I love the World Baseball Classic. I think it's great. I think having guys like Ohtani and other big leaguers available to play in it, I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. They need this here, I think, Major League Baseball. They're kind of on the rise here in popularity, and I think this is just going to go a long way to helping elevate Major League Baseball moving forward.
Yep, I like the World Baseball Classic. I don't want to see a single Philadelphia Philly in there. Let Shohei Ohtani pitch 3 straight games here, run up that arm in the month of February, March, whenever that's played here. Leave my Philadelphia Phillies out of that tournament here, and yes, we'll all enjoy. You know what else sometimes people enjoy? The downfall of people who are very arrogant at what they do and make a lot of money. That's Brian Kelly. But now Brian Kelly's going like, I was fired by LSU, but they're harming me while I try to look for another job. Didn't harm James Franklin. He went right to Virginia Tech. What harm are we talking about getting fired?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he burned bridges in Notre Dame, Cincinnati. His reputation follows him. And in a year, Donnie, where so many jobs are open and available, and the fact that, and big jobs, and he is a big name and nobody's calling him, I think that tells you everything you need to know about what the community thinks of Brian Kelly.
Yeah, it's like, you had Cincinnati, and also the way he left these organizations. It's almost like if you just ghost your family, like, hey, you know what? I have a wife and a kid. And 2 days later, it's like, where's my husband? And Daddy, why aren't you coming home? I got another family over here. Like, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but enjoy the rest of your life. Like, that's like, you put your heart and soul in some of those universities. Those kids buy in, and you sat in their living room, you sold them. You want to come to my institution? I'll take care of your kid like a son. And then the next day he's out. He's like, I never really cared about you anyway. I only care about the almighty dollar and me moving on. Yes, that's life in big business and college football, but you can't do that all the time. There's ways to leave organizations and sort of set that new footprint and not be a phony, Joe.
Yeah, and he's avoided that altogether. I mean, the stories coming out about him are over the top. Not good. Not good at all.
Let's take a look at some action here. Drew Aller. What? Yeah, he's on the docket next. Come on back.
The future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
A huge number out there on Cason Wallace to win Defensive Player of the Year at 500 to 1. That is worth your attention. And a number that I talked about before the season that I still think should be lower is Mark Daigneault to win Coach of the Year at 11 to 1 in the NBA. If they win 70, he's a lock for top 3. If they win 73, it's his.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. Like, it just burns up quick. And you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy.
Yeah.
But possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now on the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Heisman Trophy in college football. Did feel like we had a two-person race there, Joe. It was like, okay, it's either going to be Fernando Mendoza or Julian Sayin. After his week last week, we only got a handful of carries, went the distance multiple times. That's Jeremiah Love. He now sits at a plus 450 spot, and Diego Pavia at a plus 550. Are there some needles going in that pin cushion right now where it looked like it was just a two-man race? And as Julian's saying, getting knocked where he doesn't really have to do all that much right now. And he's going to take on Michigan this weekend, which could give him a boost, but that's probably not a real high-scoring game at this point. Mendoza, good story out of Indiana. They like to run it up, but it looks like we got competition, Joe, for the first time in a couple weeks.
Yeah, the numbers all seem to make some sense here, right?
Yeah.
And it seems to be very, very close. One of the closer Heisman races that we've seen in a while, but still a couple of weeks left to go here. So keep an eye on all of these guys. Who's going to have the big moment, the big game? Who is it that's going to step up when it matters the most? Boy, oh boy, it'd be interesting to see Jeremiah Love and Diego Pavia. They had huge Saturdays here. Can they keep that going over the next week or so? I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
High-rated quarterbacks go to Penn State and somehow don't turn out all that great. But Pete Thamel reports here, quote, I'm going to be a better version of myself out of this. Spoke to Penn State quarterback Drew Aller, who's made a full recovery from his broken ankle and looking ahead to throwing for teams at either the NFL Combine or a pro day. Drew Aller, once thought to be possibly the number one overall quarterback, now he's just going to say, you know what? Working hard, full recovery. I'll throw for some teams. Where does he go? Is he still first-round talent, Joe?
Goes to a practice squad, that's where he goes. It's stop. He couldn't throw, Donnie, at Penn State. Like one of the worst downfield passers we have seen. He's just not. He's not an NFL quarterback in any way, shape, or form. And in a year where you got a handful of guys coming out that are going to go probably in the top 10 here, Donnie. Yeah, maybe in a fourth or fifth round, but I was not impressed at all with his arm or his ability to throw the deep ball, which is a problem.
If the season ended today, that draft order, Tennessee Titans just drafted number one overall last year. That's a sign of a great organization, by the way. Draft number one overall and then do it again the next year. That's really hard to do in the NFL when they already help you with scheduling and also draft picks for you to get in line. The Giants, the Saints, the Jets, the Vegas Raiders, as well as Cleveland in that top six here. Tennessee probably not looking quarterback. Giants looking quarterback. Saints, I guess, not looking for a quarterback like they thought they drafted their guy. Jets looking for a quarterback. Vegas looking for a quarterback. And away it goes, Joe.
Yeah, well, if Tennessee's smart, the mark of a good organization is trade out of that number one pick this year, get yourself 9 million other picks, and rebuild that roster around last year's number one pick there in Cam Ward. So, and you'll be back on the road to recovery. But I have my doubts with that organization because the way that organization is being run, it could be ugly in a hurry there.
Yeah, most teams, again, when you're bad, you try to grab that quarterback at the top of the draft. The number one overall pick odds here, who that's going to be. Simpson out of Alabama at a plus 130 price quarterback. Mendoza out of Indiana, 3-1 price here quarterback. And then look at that. Reuben Hurricane Bain Jr. plus 360 here as a defensive end. They always creep up there, but I do think if you're trading up to the top spot, like Tennessee, dumb move to say, you know what? We like Reuben Bain, even though he's a great player. It's all about value. He's not value at number one. Trade back and say, hey, you know what? The Jets want to creep up. They want their quarterback. Go back to 4, and then maybe you got a chance there at Hurricane Bain at that point. Any thoughts, Joe, on who's going number one, and will it be a quarterback?
It certainly feels like somebody's going up to get a quarterback here because Tennessee right now, and we don't see them obviously making some sort of drastic turnaround here before the end of the season and rattling off a few wins. But currently right now, if you got the Giants, you got Tennessee, neither need a quarterback, but both will be available and answering the phone if you want to move up, Jets. And New Orleans obviously needs, there's a few quarterback needy teams. It feels like somebody's going to go up and get one.
And somebody thought one of those needy quarterbacks would be drafting Arch Manning, who probably is going to go back to Austin, Texas, but they got a monster game this weekend, Joe. Taking a look on the 28th. Is that a Friday? Yes, Friday at 7:30. Oh, man, you got some good football action this weekend. A&M already probably punched their ticket into the college football playoff. Texas looking to throw a wrench into those things if they can get a victory, but probably not going to take place. A&M is a road favorite, though, in Austin at 2.5, Joe. That's interesting there. It is.
Well, listen, this is all about Texas having an opportunity to be the only 3-loss team that makes the college football playoff. A convincing win here would make it very interesting here for at-large bids, Donnie, and who gets in and who gets out. We've said it for weeks. They knew it. We knew it. It didn't matter if you beat Georgia or not. It matters whether or not you beat Texas A&M, because if you do, then, yeah, we might get a little more chaos involved here over the next couple of weeks.
Ryan Day won a championship last year for Ohio State. He also lost to Michigan. So it's almost like, well, how do we win a national championship and lose to Michigan? Well, that's the new playoff structure. Usually you lose that Michigan game, you're out, you can't make it because it's the last game of the season. You can't afford to take a loss. Ohio State taking on that team up north and will travel up north as double-digit favorites at most outlets right now. And look at that total, 44.5. Defense, and more defense. That's a noon kickoff on Saturday, Joe. 27 degrees at kickoff. How about that? That's football weather.
And the reality is here, Donnie, this game is way more important to Michigan from a college football player perspective. Ohio State's already in. They just like they're already in. Doesn't matter if they win this game or there's nothing on the line outside of bragging rights here, right? If Michigan wins this game, there is no way Michigan does not make it into the college football playoff as a 2-loss team. I'm telling you right now, more chaos could be coming.
I know. We need that chaos here. Auburn, Alabama, Iron Bowl, only a 5.5-point number here. Alabama, ripe for the upset, Joe?
No. Auburn's terrible. But this game, we've seen this over the years, Donnie. Just anything is possible here. This game is crazy.
Anything is possible! As Kevin Garnett once said at that point. More is possible with Kalshi next.
Let's play our game of buy or sell. Buy or sell. Thursday night football should end after week 10, George. You going to buy or sell this?
It's too short a week. It's not healthy for the players. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise here. Either the NFL will tell you, oh, stats tell us no, it's not more injuries. And that's all BS. All right. Should it end after week 10? In a perfect world, there should be no Thursday night games. Should it end after week 10? Sure, I'll buy this. But it's not going to. There's too much money here. It's never going to end, all right? They're going to have it forever. You're lucky there's not a Friday, Saturday schedule as well, and there's some laws involved there as to why there's not. The NFL is going to have a schedule or for any day they can get here. It's all about money here. And if the players don't want it, by the way, you're going to realize, well, you're going to lose a significant chunk of revenue out of your salary as well here.
Right.
So I'll buy this, but it doesn't matter. It's not going away.
Yeah, I mean, George just basically said everything that I was going to say, So, the games, so of course I'll buy it. The games are not good. Generally, the home team has a big advantage. If not, the teams are not prepared to play on Thursday night. Yes, there have been some upsets and some underdogs winning. We saw it Thursday night. But the quality of play on Thursday is lower than what it is on the weekends. And there's no end in sight to it because of what George said, the money. That's just all that matters. If Amazon Prime doesn't take it, Netflix will take it. If they don't take it, Apple will take it. If they don't take it, somebody else will take it. I don't know. Hulu, I don't know. You make it up. Someone will. So it is not going away. And, generally speaking, I'm excited every week when the games begin, and then I forget, and then the games usually stink, and I'm like, oh, gosh, this game wasn't good anyway. So George is right. Not going away because of the money.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's get to those Kalshi markets. I'm going to go over one thing at Kalshi right now, Joe, that has about $250,000 in trading volume. That's Thanksgiving Day. We're not even there yet. Like, most people don't even recognize Thanksgiving Day football until Thanksgiving morning. Like, whoa, We got to get down to business. We got 3 games. We got to get some bets in here. That's why we get you prepared for this. On the Kalshi Marketplace, Joe, Kansas City at Dallas. 60% chance for Kansas City to win this football game. You lay down $100, it pays back $162. You can increase your profit margin by 62% if the Kansas City Chiefs come through, Joe. But are any takers there for you on the Dallas Cowboys as an underdog?
Listen, I like more than if the hook is available for 3.5, I like it. But, that stat we gave you earlier about road favorites on Thanksgiving being 21-1 here, Donnie. They don't lose these spots, and Kansas City has been very, very reliable in spots like this over the years. So it's very tough to go against 25-1, by the way, straight up. So that might even be a bargain then, knowing that trend, Donnie, and knowing that price at 60 cents. That could be that could be some value right there.
By the way, what also I'm looking to, you hit the drop-down box. It gives you just, the money line, but there are alt totals and spread totals that you can get down on Kalshi as well. Like if you're taking a look right now, Kansas City to win by over 3.5 points, which means they win by 4 points in this one. You lay down $100 on that. It pays back $213. So let me just go to, let's alt this here. Let's go if Kansas City wins by a touchdown. So 6.5 points, lay 100 on that, $257 back. So there are marketplaces like we take a look at DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, wherever you're going out there in the legalized sports books. It's nice to see them adding that because most people say, well, I don't really want to take a money line. I could just do that anywhere. But now you can sort of shop. And that's the most important part, Joe, right? It's not as if you're not used to Kalshi or Polymarket, whoever it might be out there. But if I tell you one thing, like, hey, Joe, you can bet $100 and win 200 back here. You can bet $100 and win 215 back here. It's a no-brainer. You're taking more money here, regardless of where it's at.
I agree. That's exactly what it's all about, Donnie. It's about making a profit. And if you can do that before the outcome actually happens, that's what I'm talking about, Donnie. That's how you do it.
You know what? I have to, because I haven't done this on game day. Usually you're just watching the markets and say, okay, live number at FanDuel or DraftKings minus 3.5. But if you already bet it here, a lot of times you don't get that cash out button. I want to see how Kalshi does, on that day of a game, second quarter, your team's up 14 points, what that marketplace actually looks like. Because if it's like, okay, we'll let you out and you have to pay something minimal like $1 on what you had, you know what, that might be worth. Hey, I'm going to risk $1 because I have a 2.5 collapse in the second half. Not the case. Wonder what that market looked like, Joe, on Sunday when you took a look at that Philadelphia Eagles game, right? Come on now. Let's see what that was at.
That's what I'm talking about.
Cash out with a full profit, Joe. Come on.
Yep. Jump in-game opportunities, live opportunities, Donnie. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways, which is what I love about it, is to be able to cash out before, just half the outcome, right? You don't even have to get the full outcome and you can still make a profit, which is what makes it great.
You want profit, Joe. You want winners. How about if you take all the favorites on Turkey Day, the 3-leg combo here? You get a little turducken out there with this one. Detroit, Kansas City, Baltimore, all win. 28%. You lay a Hyundai spot down, you get $358 back, Joe. Favorites, and more favorites. And correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you give out a favorite scenario early in the show about some of these stats on Thanksgiving?
I did. Yep.
Oh,
yep. So, road favorites have been money. Now, my question is, Donnie, if we bet that at 30, right, what happens when Detroit wins the first leg of that? What do you think that number goes up to?
Starts to climb even higher because Detroit's the tough one, right? Apparently, yeah.
That's it. So we get Detroit, that probably goes from 30 cents to 50 cents, and we don't even have to wait. We've already made money. We don't even have to wait for the Kansas City-Dallas outcome.
How about this outcome, Joe? Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua here. By the way, Jake Paul taking a fight where he's only a 15% chance of winning this. You bet Jake Paul $100 gets back $667. This has all the feels of shenanigans, Joe, at this point. No?
Yeah, give me Jake Paul.
I'm watching.
I'll take the 16%. Yes, I guarantee you the fix is in.
He's the Joe. He's the gravy train, right? Yeah, like he's the
Yeah,
gravy
exactly.
train. Has to
Yes.
continue. Like, hey, Anthony, I'm going to pay you $10 million. You're going to get beat, but you're going to get $10 million, and nobody's going to remember this anyway at this point. But we got to keep this going. Maybe Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua too, which brings back even more money at this point. I'm surprised it's that high. Like, Joshua's a real boxer and probably should win. But if he does win, nobody really wants to see Jake Paul fight anymore, right? Like, come on, he can't lose this boxing match. The train's got to continue. And so does the show for NFL action. Coming up next.
Eight 3-minute rounds. The gloves are 10 ounces. And Anthony Joshua weighs like 250 pounds. So I'm not really sure how this is going to end up happening. But this is one of those. Normally, I don't give credit to the Paul brothers. And, I give them credit for being great on social media and creating a lot of buzz for the sport. I give him credit for getting in the round with Anthony Joshua. This is not like a Mike Tyson fight where Tyson's 60 years old.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Broncos taking on the Washington Commanders, Joe. We'll take a look at some of those Sunday games. This one's actually a Sunday night football game from Washington. Heavy favorite for Denver at 6.5. I'm still seeing Marcus Mariota listed at quarterback. I haven't checked, again, the latest practice reports, which will start to be flowing in the next couple of days. Do we have a chance to get Jaden Daniels back in this one? Are they really going to slow play this? Because if you do put him back in, the Denver defense, probably not the defense you want to see him play, no?
I agree. I would slow play this, no problem.
Yeah.
And I'd have no problem doing that. But again, same situation. He is your starting quarterback, much like Burrow. I get why they would want to put him out there, but you also have teams like, Minnesota here who are inventing injuries for J.J. McCarthy not to play him. Can't they do that for a guy that can actually play like Jaden Daniels, who I've been screaming for how long now? Like, do not ruin your franchise quarterback right now. This team is going nowhere in a hurry to Commanders. Just chalk it up to a lost season and move on.
Yeah, it's what it seems like. And again, it's not as if, like, hey, we're going to get you back against the Raiders. Nice little spot there, get you going. Like, that Denver Broncos team is loaded for bear and is a bunch of guys that are sack artists. Not a great thing to say. You know what? Might be a little bit rusty, and I'm going to be under attack in the pocket. Not a great look there, but the favorite here on the road, the Denver Broncos, see if they win that 43.5 as a total as well. We are looking at the Rams as maybe the best team in the NFL if the season ended today. The number 1 overall seed in the NFC. They're going to take on Carolina, who now has a short work week, flying back home, getting 10.5 points. And I know you're not supposed to go week to week and just say, oh, how did they look last week? But that wasn't an encouraging performance out of Carolina, and the Rams absolutely detonated the Buccaneers. we might be looking at a blow-up, but a 10-point road favorite. Hard to lay sometimes, isn't it?
It is, but my goodness, is there anything redeeming about what we saw from Carolina last night, who had been, good as a dog, had been good on the road. They hadn't been great at home, but this Rams team, it's just not a train I want to jump in front of right now here, Donnie. They are humming on both sides. I mean, special teams, defense, offense, they're getting what they want. And they got pretty banged up again last night. The Carolina Panthers did. So, not me. I would only lay it in this one.
By the way, how about these statistics coming in on the 2025 Rams? The NFL leader in passing touchdowns. Oh, that's Matthew Stafford with 30. How about the NFL leader in receiving touchdowns? Oh, that's Devontae Adams at 12. The NFL leader in receptions. Puka Nacua at 80. The NFL's best scoring defense at 16.3. That's a Rams squad this year, Joe. Loaded.
Yeah, they are loaded. And Sean McVay is just out coaching and out scheming everybody that steps on the field with them. So, yeah, it's you got to love the direction they're heading. Maybe now is the time to start looking at the Kalshi future markets for the Rams being a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, maybe so at this point right now. They look the part. Good coach, great quarterback, great offense, good defense, pass rushing specialist here. They just need to stay at home in that dome. Big loss by the Philadelphia Eagles against the Cowboys, which opens that door. They don't want to go to Philly. They can't win there. They might be able to win at home, even though the Eagles crushed them at SoFi last year. But that's when the Eagles could run the football, which they can't do anymore. How about running the football this weekend? Indy didn't do that much of that on the road against Kansas City and blew a double-digit lead. Houston comes to town as one of the best defenses here and looks like getting C.J. Stroud back. However, the look-ahead line, Joe, was 3.5. You see this graphic? It's now up to 4.5 as a favorite for Indy and a total of 44.5. Stroud is back after Mills said, "Got you covered, kid. Let me pick up a couple wins before I hand the football back to you."
Yeah, who'd have thunk that we'd even have this conversation? Like, we all thought Indy was running away with that division just, a month ago, and that was nobody's catching them, especially Houston, whose offense is still suspect at best. What are we going to get from C.J. Stroud? I don't know. But Indy going home in that place there, it feels like this might. I get why the line is moving in their direction, Donnie, because if they're playing from behind, which I think they will be, as good as that defense has been, I do think that is a revamped Indy defense as well. Where are the points from the Houston Texans coming from? I would only lower scoring game, but I like Indy at home to get it done.
Two defenses might be able to get after it here. And yes, that 44.5 is true. It's like, man, should be able to take the over. We don't know what C.J. Stroud we're getting at this point right now. That's not an explosive offense, as Joe points out. And also the running game probably going to get cranked up here for Indianapolis. Are we having a sacrificial lamb game on Sunday, Joe? The Minnesota Vikings on the road, basically out of the playoffs at this point, season over, versus the Seattle Seahawks. McCarthy listed as the start. He's not playing. If he's in concussion protocol, which how bad he's played, they're not rushing him to get him back, even if he has a concussion or no concussion. Rosmer would be the starting quarterback. That line goes from 7.5 to 10.5. It's probably not really a downgrade at this point at quarterback, but you don't make any money betting rookie quarterbacks in a tough environment against a good football team. Like, it's one team's playing for the playoffs and possibly a Super Bowl championship in Seattle, if you will. Minnesota's playing for, it's a holiday weekend, and maybe I ate too much on Thursday. I don't feel like playing on the road. A lot of points, but I don't know if I trust a young quarterback on the road up against the 12s.
Yeah, no. And what, Sam Darnold revenge game? Donnie, what are you thinking here? Might get might be throwing for a few touchdown passes. Yeah, I would only look at Seattle here. I do think Minnesota at this point, it wasn't a great effort against the Packers. If you can't get up for the Packers, why do you care about a game for Seattle on the road? It would only be lay it or pass here at this point.
By the way, Jackson Smith and Jigba, I remember, talking on the early line, this when the numbers started to come out. Joe, he was listed at 750 yards for his over-under on the season. Because the thought was, Well, now he's the number one. They'll key on him, and Sam Darnold was somehow a downgrade against, what you had last year taking on Geno Smith. Not the case. He's been flat out sensational. Short passing game, intermediate passing game, deep passing game. He's wide open all of the time. I think it's a fun team to watch, but also how good can he be, and can he get to, Joe? 2,000 yards receiving on the season. Who would have thought JSN having this dominant of a season?
Unbelievable. You just got to get rid of Lockett, right? And you were good to go, I guess, here. And boy, oh boy, it's been eye-opening. And the fact that Sam Darnold and company are the ones that are delivering it. I've always said, right, quarterbacks make receivers. Receivers don't make quarterbacks. I don't know. I might have to think about this one. Is this Sam Darnold doing it? Or is this, is just he making Sam Darnold look that much better? It's an interesting combo, that's for sure.
It really is when you boil it down to, because we do know Sam Darnold. Like, it's like, hey, he's had a great season last year. Looked like the glass slipper broke late in the season. Final game of the year, everything on the line against Detroit, hammered. Then they get to the playoffs, you go on the road on a neutral site. If you remember that for the LA Fires, they got crushed by the Rams. And now you say, all right, well, Sam Darnold's having a good season, but then we did see the 4 interceptions, Sam Darnold, against the Rams. The good and the bad, we'll see how that turns out. But the Seattle Seahawks, Joe, a 6-1 price to win the conference. The Eagles are 3-1. Rams are a plus 210. San Francisco, which won yesterday, 16-1. They're sort of that team that doesn't get a lot of respect talking about it, but their high end is very good when they're good.
Yeah, well, very good. In fact, I mean, you said it, right? 4 interceptions, and they still almost won that game, Donnie. So that tells you everything you need to know about how good a team this Seahawks group really is, especially defensively. They can run the ball. They can play outdoors. They're not a dome team. I think Seattle might be worth a look here in the future markets for sure.
Yeah, we look at like the Rams, and again, they are the best team right now in the NFC, and quite frankly, maybe the best team in the NFL. Playing great football, still a long way to go. Injuries do happen, we get that. The Eagles sitting there at a 3-1 price, we're riding high off that defense, that collapse. They have a really big game on Friday against the Bears. And I'm not saying it's, hey, because the Eagles are going to win their division, but if we need to talk about Super Bowl, they need that win against them. But also, if the Bears come into Philadelphia and improve to 9-3, that's one of those teams they look at 22-1 to win the NFC. You start to buy into those marketplaces here. The coach, JY, coming up next. Let's get to some NBA talk here with him next.
Eight 3-minute rounds. The gloves are 10 ounces. And Anthony Joshua weighs like 250 pounds. So I'm not really sure how this is going to end up happening. But this is one of those. Normally, I don't give credit to the Paul brothers. And, I give them credit for being great on social media and creating a lot of buzz for the sport. I give him credit for getting in the round with Anthony Joshua. This is not like a Mike Tyson fight when Tyson's 60 years old.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, All Team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
It's Feast Week, baby, right here on the SportsGrid Network, particularly with the early line. We've talked a lot of action already. NFL getting you ready here. Obviously, college football coming up, college basketball, and you know it, the NBA. Let's get to the coach. It's Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Coach James Young, we need you this morning. You got to get the updates in here. It's Thanksgiving week. How we feeling?
Feeling good. NBA full swing. Some good performances. Some big-time forwards hurt. And we're getting to that time, guys, as the NBA Cup kind of gets towards the end of its group play, where NBA starts to take over a little bit as football comes to an end of their season, obviously, once the turn of the year.
Absolutely it does, Coach, here. But I want to get to the hot topics right away with you. I'm going to play you a clip. Klay Thompson on Ja Morant.
And then with Ja, he's a funny guy. He has a lot to say all the time, especially for a guy who rarely takes accountability. But you know what? That's for another day.
What did Ja have to say on this occasion?
Nothing of intelligent depth. It was really just his just running his mouth, and he's been running his mouth for a long time. And it's funny to run your mouth when you're on the bench. It's kind of the story of his career so far, just leaving us wanting more. You know, we all want to see him out there and do his best, but he's just been letting a lot of other stuff get in the way of that. And we need that in the NBA. We need our best players to be out there, and when you're a star, it comes with a great responsibility, and I hate to see that go to waste.
Little Meg the Stallion right there, James Young. Come on, Coach. What do you think about those comments? A little shade.
Well, he ain't wrong. He's not wrong about anything
Exactly.
he said. I mean, this guy, Ja Morant, is, let's see, whether he's, brandishing guns on social media, or he's picking on fights with high school kids, or he's talking trash. Listen, we looked at this Memphis team years ago with that whoop that trick and that big matchup that they had with Golden State. We were like, oh my God, this team, the excitement, the city, the atmosphere at the FedEx Forum. And it all feels like it was 15 years ago. Guys, it was like 3 years ago. But Ja continues to do dumb stuff. And at one point, if you're Memphis, you have to look at this situation and say, him or Triple J? You already moved Bane, right? You already moved Desmond Bane in the offseason. So at some point, you got to move one of these two guys. But listen, I know Klay has not put up Klay numbers and his career is coming towards the end, but he's not wrong in anything he says about Ja. Ja's got to grow up, Ja's got to be accountable, and Ja's got to be on the court. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Not hard to figure out, Coach. You got to grow up at some point. But when your father's getting banned from arenas and your best friends, it's not good there. Not good in Washington either, Coach. But they get Atlanta, who is still trying to figure some things out there with Quinn Snyder. That's the first game up here tonight. I'm still seeing 10 and 237 and a half. I don't know if I can sweat out an under in this game, but what are you thinking?
Listen, one thing that's been apparent with the play of Atlanta, winners of 7 of their last 10, is there needs to be a Trae Young conversation. Because since he's been hurt, you move Dyson Daniels to the point, Nickeil Alexander-Walker to the 2, and the ascension of Jalen Johnson. And Jalen Johnson has 7 or more assists in every game that Trae Young has missed. You need to start looking at Atlanta and saying, you know, that's another team that has switched around the coach, that got rid of Capella, that got in DeJounte Murray, got rid of DeJounte Murray, got rid of John Collins, right? They've traded all these pieces, and now they're playing their best basketball of the year without Trae Young. Washington is a hot mess. It's a lot of points to lay. Maybe that's an in-game bet. You may want to wait, let the game start. Maybe Washington hangs around because they do have some veterans on that team. But Atlanta's been a sneaky good story. And like I said, if they keep winning without Trae, and Trae comes back, and he kind of messes it up, guys, there's going to be a conversation about could Trey be the guy moved for a team that's ascending with other players playing well?
Orlando Magic and the Philadelphia 76ers tonight, Coach, from Philadelphia. This line opened up as a look ahead of the Sixers -1. It's now a favorite towards the Orlando Magic, which might lead us to believe who's actually available tonight. Well, it's usually Maxey every single night. Is it Embiid? Is it Paul George? Is Edgecombe going to be able to come back? What are we seeing tonight, Magic and the 76ers?
Well, right now it looks like VJ Edgecombe is out. Joel Embiid, Paul George is GTDs. And we're not talking about Kevin Walsh's show. That'll be on later tonight. Make sure you tune in at 6:30. Maybe Coach will be on that one as well. But anyway, you have to look at the other side. Apollo Banchero is out as well. But you have the play, to me, of Wagner playing really great basketball. Suggs is starting to find his way a little bit. Philadelphia is another team. Ready, guys? That they need to have a conversation. When VJ Edgecombe is back, the offense has got to go through Maxey and Edgecombe. I think you have to realize that Embiid is your number 3 guy. And Paul George, I don't care what his contract says. Make him come off the bench. I like him off the bench. Let Kelly Oubre play that spot and let those guys cook and bring him off the bench for some scoring punch where he can get the ball in his hands as other guys get breaks.
What about the AARP game tonight there? Clippers taking on the Lakers. Kawhi is back. LeBron is back. What are we thinking we're getting here?
You know what's amazing, guys? And we need to talk about, the fact that if the Lakers are going to be successful, I'm going to say something. I'm all about hot topics tonight. LeBron can't be your number 1 scorer. Ready? LeBron can't be your number 2 scorer. LeBron's got to be your number 3 guy and your facilitator. The way Luka and Austin Reeves have been playing, those two got to carry the load. But much respect. I know he has a knee contusion. I don't know if he plays tonight. Before that, DeAndre Ayton had put 20.10 rebounds in the games back to back to back. If DeAndre Ayton can be a 14.10 rebound guy and put him in that lineup with Reeves and with Luka, then LeBron doesn't have to get you 30. He can get you anywhere between 16 to 21 points, get assists, get rebounds, and then all of a sudden the Lakers have something. As for the Clippers, it's problems. Bradley Beal gone. Derrick Jones Jr. hurt. Brook Lopez, why is he still in the league? There's a lot of problems in Clipperland. You start to wonder, when does Steve Ballmer look at Lawrence Frank and say, you are fired?
Heavy talk there coming from the coach, James Young here. The NBA season rolling on as we get up towards Turkey Day and the NBA Cup, Coach. Thanks for rising and grinding us with this morning. Have a happy Thanksgiving, Coach. Send us to the break. Give us a fadeaway. Eating it up. Goodness. Ah!
Eight 3-minute rounds. The gloves are 10 ounces. And Anthony Joshua weighs like 250 pounds. So I'm not really sure how this is going to end up happening. But this is one of those. Normally, I don't give credit to the Paul brothers. And, I give them credit for being great on social media and creating a lot of buzz for the sport. I give him credit for getting in the round with Anthony Joshua. This is not like a Mike Tyson fight when Tyson's 60 years old.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Gather around the hot stove here. The holiday season is here. Why is that? Well, Thanksgiving is this weekend. And also understand one thing about the hot stove season in Major League Baseball. It usually doesn't stay hot for all that long or never actually gets fired up at this point. But we actually got some name trades here going down between the Texas Rangers and the New York Mets. Brandon Nimmo, here's him saying, you know what? I'm out of the apple.
And I couldn't be more excited about everything that I'm hearing, from Jake. I knew Jake very well when I was in New York, have stayed in touch with him, and he has nothing but amazing things to say about the Rangers. He's been on both sides, and he has absolutely, thrived in this environment and thinks that we are capable of winning a World Series. And, he is really, really excited about this. And so talking with him and talking with many other people inside the organization, including Skip, all I hear is that, they're very, very excited about, this next season. We're not in a rebuild mode. Like, we're going for it. We think that, this next season is a very exciting time for the Texas Rangers. And so it's gotten me very excited for this season. And obviously I would not have waived the no trade clause if I did not think that I could come here and win and be a part of, chasing that World Series.
One of 9 states also, Joe, with no state income tax, going from a high tax state of New York down to Texas. Maybe that's why he's a big smile on his face.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. A lot of question marks about, don't let him fool you with those talking points that he was apparently handed. But there's still a lot of questions about that Texas Rangers team moving forward.
Questions, Joe. We ask them each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on the early line. And those questions are our Fade the Public poll. Follow us on X at SportsGrid. Each and every morning we ask a question. Today's question was, who will win the NBA Cup this season? OKC, Los Angeles, that's the Lakers, the Nuggets, or the Pistons? I have no idea about anybody's records here, but I just took the Lakers at 8-1. I have no idea who's going to win the Cup.
Well, yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, OKC apparently is not interested in losing any games at any time to anybody far this year. So I get it, but I wouldn't be. I'd keep an eye on the Miami Heat too, as well. But to me, I'd have to be a little chalky and go with OKC because they are a machine, and they're about to get more reinforcements that will be healthy enough to play, like Jalen Williams. So. Yeah, look out for OKC. Here they come.
Heavy favorite OKC, but also, Joe, we don't take heavy favorites. We don't take heavy underdogs. We just take winners for our buy right now. Told you yesterday, I had a little, Notorious B.I.G. on the screen here. Gave us a win in Brooklyn. Hey, they were getting 14, lost by 13. Ba-bing! Joe went out to the West Coast last night and said, you should be laying 7. Don't worry about the touchdown. Lay the 7.5 at light juice. You'll be just fine with the Niners. Ba-bing! That's a winner, Joe. Where are we going tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to go back to football in the final game of the 49 straight days of football in the MAC conference, and I'm going with Western Michigan. A win will send the Broncos to Detroit, where they'll have an opportunity to win a conference championship here. And this was 6.5. It's now 7.5. And I agree here. You've got the number 1 defense in the MAC. I have cash tickets with this Western Michigan team all year long. They have a great running game. They're going up against an Eastern Michigan team that can't stop the run. They want to run the ball, but you're not running on this Western Michigan defense. They get turnovers. They're very well coached. They're at home with a chance to go to the MAC title game. I'll lay the 7.5 with Western Michigan tonight.
Ooh, another 7.5 lay-down job there. We'll see if Western Michigan get it done. For me, I'm going back to the association. You know me, Joe. Fading the public. They can't get enough of the Lakers and Luka Doncic here. Ooh, the Clippers got to travel from Inglewood over to downtown Los Angeles. That ain't going to be no issues tonight. How about the opening line, Joe, listed at -6? It's now dropped to 5.5 despite 75% of the ticket count on the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's go with the Clippers today, baby. Plus 5.5 points against those Lakers in the Battle of Tinseltown. Can we start this week, Joe, 4-0 for the people? Sounds like we can.
It's going to be great. Yeah. I'm looking so forward to seeing a bunch of 40-year-olds play basketball tonight. That's great stuff, Donnie. Great game coming up.
Joe and I are going to mail it in tomorrow, just like most of you waiting for Thanksgiving. But we'll be here on the early line for Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri, and the crew. See you bright and early tomorrow morning.